The question, how do I make my writing effective? Since this was placed in the creative writing section, I'm going to assume that you're specifically talking about creative writing. One of the things that fascinate me most about writing is the ability to use sentence structure to change the pacing of a sentence. For example, check out the difference between these two paragraphs, both detailing the exact same scene. The line seemed to crawl forward at a snail's pace. I tried to peer around and catch a glimpse of the cashier, but the line was too long, an endless queue that seemed to stretch on and on before me. I turned my head and glanced at the clock, taking note of the time. At last, I reached the front of the line. With a grateful sigh, I ordered myself a coffee. The line barely seemed to move. I tried to catch a glimpse of its end, but it was too far away, and I glanced at the clock. At the time it's late, and I turned back, waiting at last. I rushed forward and ordered a coffee, letting out a pent-up sigh. I never once described the character's emotional state, or even show it through his actions, drumming fingers, biting lips, etc. Instead, I simply use sentence structure to convey tone. So that's tip number 1, play with sentence structure to match your tone. People talk about wordsmiths, be a sentence smith. Tip number 2, don't divorce yourself from your characters. You're not telling a story, your characters are. Let them make judgments. Let them describe scenes. Let them talk, not you. Tip number 3, don't be afraid to rely on your reader's imagination. Not everything has to be laid out for them in easy words. Describe what is necessary and let them imagine the rest. Check out this blog post, http://www.verygoodcopy.com/2po. Notice how little he really describes. But it works. Tip number 4, develop a tone. Don't dictate your story like it's a fact sheet. Make it edgy, exciting. It takes practice and a lot of reading. Tip number 2 will help. And finally, my favorite tip. It's not enough to ask if you're proud to have written something. Ask yourself this, if someone else had written it, would you read it? You can read more about this here, what I learned about writing from reading fantasy, rewriting.